Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome to Kilt Cork Live. My name is Russ Reyes, and I've got Instagram going as well tonight and Facebook, so welcome viewers from both of those. It's going to be a really cool night tonight. I promised last week that we would explore the various things that are under a kilt. We're going to do that, but we're going to do a lot more stuff tonight too as well. So we're going to start out by talking a little bit about this last week because it was really crazy. So a week ago tonight was the first Kilt Cork Live. And it was one of those things where I just said, I just have to do it because if I keep waiting and making excuses, I'll never do it. And I think we all do that in our lives, but I had to do it. So I started. And that was the first part of this whole Kilt Cork journey. And it just kind of snowballed after that. Because the next night, Friday night, we did our first house party. We crashed someone's house. We bring winemakers, brewers, that kind of stuff. Last week, we crashed Stacy Carpenter and her husband, Chris. They were nice enough to host us. And we went to their house and played some adult games. And you saw the pictures on Facebook. I posted some on Instagram as well. So I kept it tame. I think people were a little bit worried about that, what we were going to do exactly at a house party, especially if we're playing adult games. But I think Stacy can attest that it was a lot of fun, and it was a great way to bring a brand like Crystal Basin and Outbreak Brewing in Placerville to people who either didn't know about them or did know about them, could ask questions. So that was really cool. So that was Friday night. So then we had a weekend. Went out and did a really cool adventure I'll tell you about in a minute. We went to Sutter Creek, and that was a great adventure. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And then Tuesday, we were back at it again. So Tuesday, we were up in the Sierra, and that's about all I'm going to tell you about where we were. But we were on a hike, and it was all for our first episode of Kilt Cork Wish You Were Here, which is going to be like a travel kind of a show. So it's kind of got my little personality spin on it, I guess. We'll see how it turns out. But Breaking Phoenix was the production company that came up and did all the footage for us on Tuesday. So I really have to give a shout out to John Meldrum at Breaking Phoenix because they did an amazing job getting this footage with drones and all kinds of cool cameras and stuff. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be in September. We're going to release that. And then hopefully once a month after September, we're going to go and release a new show every month. So that was the week. It was crazy, and I expect that it's going to continue to be like that. We're going to do this show. If you're just tuning in, again, my name is Russ from Kilt Cork, and we're going to do this show every week on Thursday at about 5:30. So that's kind of when we're going to do it. All right, so getting back to the kilt and what's worn under the kilt. That's really what people kind of keyed in on last week, and even before that. Like, why is it called Kilt Cork? Why is it that you're wearing a kilt? So just a little bit of background on that. Kilt Cork is about spreading the love to this whole region here that I live in: El Dorado County, Amador County, the Placers, the whole Sierra Foothills. And I have a group of guys that I hang out with called the Rogue Brothers. So shout out to my Rogue Brothers that are out there. Probably some of you are watching, I hope. But we wear kilts when we golf. We wear kilts when we do fundraisers, public stuff like that. And I probably more than most of them wear my kilt a lot. So because I like wearing it. So if you're a guy out there and you haven't worn a kilt, I recommend you rush out and get one and wear it because it's cool. You need to wear one. Cool. That's kind of funny. It is cool. It's cooler than like wearing shorts and stuff. But so I get a lot of questions. Why the kilt? So that is really why I wear the kilt, because I like wearing it. But always the question, what's under the kilt? So I told you last week I was going to have a friend of mine. He's legendary in the kilt wearing sphere. Well known far and wide, Europe. Well known. Let's just say he's well known because he's legendary. So I want to welcome to the set the legendary Seamus. Seamus, come on over here. He's, like I said, he's so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming tonight. As you can see, he's kilted, as he should be. And I'm going to kind of go into that here in a minute. But before we kind of show what's under his kilt, I realized that I forgot that I don't have anything to drink, and part of the show is sharing the wonderful things that we have around here to drink, and I'm kind of thirsty, and I need a little bit of courage before I kind of show you what's under his kilt. So, Seamus, did you bring anything to drink tonight?
I won't stop.
All right, well, can I check and see what's... Okay, thank you. All right. All right. Oh, that's a bourbon. You know, nice bourbon too, by the way. This is a Seven Devils bourbon. It's kind of out of Idaho, and we have an Idaho connection. But you know what? I'm not really in the mood for bourbon. So I think I'm going to try something else, all right? Let's see. Oh, I can move that out of the way. Okay, let's see here. Oh, how did you get this? That's crazy. Okay, so he's got a bottle of Mediterranean Vineyards Grenache, and Mediterranean Vineyards is not even open yet. So I'm pretty impressed that you had a bottle of that under your kilt, Seamus. Unfortunately, I don't have a glass, so I got to see if you got a glass.
Oh, I don't stop.
Yeah, okay. Oh, man. Make sure it's clean. You never know. I do need a bottle opener, but I also want to tell you a little bit about this Mediterranean Vineyards because it's one of the vineyards that I was excited about opening in Fairplay. And give me a second, I got to get a corkscrew. Oh, man. I keep telling you, you got to move that thing out of the way next time. So anyways, Mediterranean Vineyards is in Fairplay, and people ask all the time, where's Fairplay? Well, Fairplay is in the South County of Wilderotter County, and it's kind of almost on the border between Wilderotter and Amador. And it's not hidden, it's not out of the way, it's just another region that sits between two other regions that we have in this area. So there were two wineries that were opening that I was really excited about because one of them was owned by a friend of mine, Linda Neal, but Mellowwood Vineyards. And she sold it to a wonderful couple, a new couple who moved into the area. I think they're from the Bay Area, San Rosa probably. But Martine and Young, they bought this vineyard and they kind of made it their own. And really excited to see what they're doing with it. So Mellowwood Vineyards, that's off Omo Ranch Road in Fairplay. And then, of course, Mediterranean, which we'll talk about here in a second. They're out in off Fairplay Road in Fairplay. So really excited about those two wineries opening. We'll talk about actually Fairplay, the whole AVA. We'll talk about that more another time because, I mean, you could really talk about that a lot. I'm just going to give this back to you, Seamus, if you don't mind. Thank you. So anyways, back to Mediterranean, because this is really interesting that Seamus had this under his kilt because, again, they're not even open yet. They opened on September 1st, so they're opening on Labor Day weekend, and wow, that is amazing. That's amazing wine. Seamus, I'll pour you a bottle in a little bit, but I just want to thank you for coming. Actually, did I say pour you a bottle? I'll pour you a glass. We'll save the bottle, but thank you for coming and showing everybody what you have under your kilt, and I'm sure we'll see you back. So anyways, Mediterranean, they are new to the area. They have a sister winery called 1850 down in Amador, and they are really making some terrific wines. Micah Rass is their winemaker. He has won some amazing awards at the latest San Francisco Chronicle competition. So they have a really great pedigree and super excited about them opening. I'm not sure why Seamus had a Garnacha under his kilt since he's Scottish, and this is definitely a Mediterranean varietal. But Mediterranean Vineyards, they're going to be all about these Mediterranean varietals and Mediterranean style wines, of which one of them is this Garnacha. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about Garnacha because it's really one of my favorite varietals. It's also known as Grenache, and Grenache, it's known by that in France and other places around the world, here in the United States. But it's also known as a bitch of a wine to grow, and I'll kind of tell you a little bit of story about that. When I first started getting into wines and moved to this area, I went to Holly's Hill in Pleasant Valley. I went to a winery called Holly's Hill in Pleasant Valley, and they had a wine called Patriarch. And I fell in love with that wine because it was just so easy to drink. It was an amazing Rhone blend, which at the time I was just learning about these wines. And the dominant grape in that wine was Grenache. So at the the same time, I was working with a friend in the wine industry, Ravel Haynes. She's down in Wilderotter. Another shout out to Wilderotter there in Amador. And I was helping her out with her wine shop, and she got a wine in called Bitch. And I'll never forget it because it was super popular with women who were going to all kinds of parties, like women's nights and that kind of stuff. They would love Bitch. They'd come in and buy Bitch, and they'd give it to their friends, and here, there. It's really cool. But the cool thing about it is it was Grenache. And I love Grenache. Grenache is kind of like, I've heard people say it's like the poor man's Pinot Noir, but it's really not. It's an amazing grape. But the reason why they call it Bitch is because it's so hard to grow. It's a varietal that it's a difficult grape to grow. It grows well in Spain, where it's called Garnacha, and it's believed to be from the Aragon region in the northern parts of Spain. That's kind of where they think it originated, and then it moved its way into France. But it's a part of some big wines if you're into European wines. They blend it with Tempranillo to make Rioja. They also, in the Rhone, will blend it with Syrah and Mourvedre, and they make a wine from the Rhone area called Châteauneuf-du-Pape, which is actually the Patriarch is based off of. If you ever get up to Holly, still talking about that. And that wine, that blend, the GSM blend, as it's kind of known in the Sierra foothills, GSM, stands for Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, is a blend that you can just drink all night. It's amazing. So I'm laughing because I'm seeing some of your comments come across. And yes, Seamus, actually, he's not that tall, but I had to get him up high enough to where I could see under his kilt. Did I see under his kilt? I don't know. I don't want to see what's under his kilt. Back to the Grenache, because it's amazing. So anyways, Grenache is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite go-tos, along with Barbera. And these two varietals thrive in the Sierra foothills. So if you're not from this area and you want to try some amazing wines that are not Cabernet, they're not Chardonnay, they're not Pinot Noir, come out to this area and try these wines like the Garnacha or Grenache, and the GSM varietals and stuff. So again, just great wines from this area. So I was going to kind of segue here to the trip that we took to Sutter Creek. It was kind of a really great idea to get a couple of influencers together and go down and just spend time with some wineries to get to know them, and also spend time with each other to see how we react. So I have to give a shout out to About Town Debbie Torres McCarthy out of Reno. Everyone knows her. Make sure you follow her on Instagram and follow her on Facebook, About Town Deb, and also Jeremy Marin from Existential Wine Guy, and you can follow him on Facebook and Instagram as well. So the three of us met up and went down to Sutter Creek and Amador. And I think there was supposed to be a graphic with those guys. So guys, I tried to give you a shout out with your graphic. I don't think it's working right now. We're still trying to work all this stuff out. So anyways, hopefully we'll get it back up there. We went to Sutter Creek and we visited a couple of wineries because we're actually going to be doing a story for Bliss Babe magazine coming up in November, December. And one of the wineries was Les Mulet Rouge, which is on Main Street, Sutter Creek. Great place, really good people. We met the two of the three owners, Tracy and Randy Hart. They were so gracious to bring us in, and we were there as kind of a trio to get to know them, because all three of us, Jeremy, Debbie, and myself, we love this region and we love talking about this region, and we want to promote this region and get people to realize what a gem is hidden here in the foothills that people don't realize is even here. I think a lot of you do, and that's awesome that you support this region. But I think there's a lot of people that don't know that they can come out from somewhere back east and stay a week in this area and still not see everything there's to see in this great place. But back to Les Moulins Rouge. They are down-to-earth people. Les Moulins Rouge, by the way, sounds really cool and exotic, and it's French, but it just really means the red mule. And there's a reason behind that, which if you get down to Les Moulins Rouge, ask them why they named themselves the red mule. And it's a really cool reason why they did. But they are doing some cool things with bubbles. They've got some bubbles there, which are just outrageous. They have some great varietals that thrive in Amador, like Barbera, some blends that they did. I think I've got, their Barbera here. It's the 2015. Had to definitely come with that because, like I said, these two wines right here, Barbera and Grenache, those are kind of like some of my favorites. So I highly recommend it when you're down at Sutter Creek, stop in, say hi to the staff, the crew down there, Tamara, she's the tasting room manager at Les Mulet Rouge, and give them some love. Then we walk down the street, so Sutter Street, there's wineries lining both sides of the street, and they have a name for themselves. They're Wine on 49. And this little group of wineries is pretty cool. There's tasting rooms, like I said. You just walk 2 feet and there's another tasting room. But Greg Baiocchi, he's on the other side of the street, and we went to his tasting room. And Greg, I've known him for a while, but we haven't seen each other for a long time, so it was really great to catch up with him. But it's also great to introduce him to Jeremy and to Deb so that they could feel this guy's energy. He just has energy that's off the charts. He's probably the most interesting man in the wine world if you consider all the things he's done. I mean, how many of you guys out there, and me included, have been a professional skydiver? That's pretty cool. He's got some really cool stories about that too. But Greg Baiocchi at Baiocchi Wines, he's making some amazing wines too that are also Mediterranean kind of influenced. He loves Tempranillo, he loves Grenache, he's got Syrah, so he's kind of doing both the Spanish style and the Rhone style wines and mixing them together in these amazing blends. So if you haven't been to Baiocchi Wines, get down there. So back to the trio, Debbie and Jeremy and myself, we kind of felt that we had to have some sort of a name that we would call ourselves when we're together, just to kind of give it a brand. And I think it was Jeremy's idea, but we came up with a Trio Vino. So hashtag Trio Vino is something that we're going to be using in our social media, and we're going to be talking about places we go and things we do from 3 different perspectives. All 3 of us have our own voice, and it's really cool how the questions that Jeremy asked and the questions Debbie asked, they all kind of fit together. If I didn't ask something, they did. So look for the synergy. What I'm saying is it's really fun, and I think you guys will get a lot out of that. So that was our trip to Sutter Creek on Saturday, and we're going to do more of this. We're going to look for other areas that we're going to go to and kind of explore together on occasion. Of course, we each do our own thing, so make sure you follow those guys on Facebook and Instagram. And again, I don't know if anyone's just joined lately, but my name is Russ from Kilt Cork, and I'm really glad that you all joined me today. We're getting ready to wrap up. I'm not sure what our time limit is here. That's one of the things that we have we'll have to work out here is the clock. I don't see a clock. So you know what? I can't tell the time, so I'm going to drink. And when I'm drinking, it's an awkward pause. So that's my producer off camera over there. There's a whole bunch of people over here helping me out. Hello. So Lauren's producing tonight, and I've got a couple other friends over there helping out. But I wanted to talk a little bit about something that's coming up that everyone out there should be interested in, because you're going to have an opportunity to sign up for another contest, which is going to be kind of fun. So last contest, again, was the adult game night, which was last Friday night. And we had 30 people enter, which is really cool. Hopefully we'll have at least that many enter this next one. We'll see. But that was Mike Owen from Crystal Basin Cellars. I cannot thank him enough for showing up and pouring and just having this intimate evening with people. And also the Tim at Outbreak Brewing sent us some beer, and it was really great to taste that and see these Belgian beers. So our next one, you can't sign up tonight, so don't comment right now and say, hey, I want to be a part of this contest, because that's going to be tomorrow. So look for it tomorrow. We're going to either go live or not, but we'll put a video out there just like last time. And you'll have to comment in the video. So I think probably this is appropriate. I'll tell you what to comment in a second when I tell you what the next giveaway is. So the next giveaway is going to be a NFL game night takeover. I'm a huge football fan. I love the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to give a shout out to Stacy, the hostess from last week, because she's the only other Dallas Cowboys fan I know for miles. So anyways, there's not many of us, but I'm a Dallas fan. So hopefully that won't narrow the field of people that want to enter this contest. I know there's a lot of 49er fans out there, but what you're going to do tomorrow is you're just going to comment on Facebook and Instagram that you would like to be a part of this, obviously. And maybe comment with your favorite NFL team. And if you don't have a favorite NFL team, then give me a favorite rugby team or football team. Like, football not here in America, so I guess that's called soccer here. But I don't care what it is. Just tell me who your favorite team is, and you can say whatever else you want to. Comments are always appreciated. But that's how you're going to enter to win the next house party takeover, which is going to be a Sunday or a Monday night in September. So who's going to be there? Well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be bringing along Jill Oser, who is the person behind both Mediterranean and 1850 in Amador. And 1850 Cellars will probably be the one that we're bringing up to the game night, but their wines are phenomenal. So if you haven't tasted them, get excited about this because it's going to be awesome. And she's a huge football fan. So she's got some football players in her family, so she'll tell you all about that when we're together. We're also excited to bring Solid Ground Brewing on Diamond Springs. So make sure you follow both 1850 and Solid Ground on Facebook and Instagram, but we're going to be bringing them along too as the beer component this night. So I'm totally excited about that. Stay tuned for that tomorrow. You guys can enter. And really, that's pretty much it for this week. I think it's been a great week. I am so grateful that everyone out there has been commenting and following and sharing. That's the only way this is going to grow is if you guys continue to help share this show, share the page, share the webpage when it's up. We'll be on YouTube here pretty quickly once we get the new show that's going to be out in September. But let me remind you that the way to be a part of this is just to interact. We're always going to be asking fans to go with us on our Wish You Were Here segments. We had 2 great fans this last Tuesday who made the hike with us not knowing anything about what we were doing. They said, okay, I'm all in. They went with me to on a hike, and you'll get to see that whole show next month. But the next Wish You Were Here is going to be something fun locally. So if you want to be a part of that, really all you have to do is just be a fan of the page because we're going to pick fans that way. And then eventually here on this show, Seamus was awesome tonight. So I want to, if you guys are out there, clap for Seamus because he was really cool. It's not often that you get to reach under a man's kilt if you don't really know him that well. We'll talk about that too. That's another show coming up because that's a whole etiquette thing that we need to address is when you're around a man in a kilt, the differences between the genders is crazy. So we'll talk about it in another show. But anyways, I want to thank Seamus for being here. So if you have something to say, you want to promote something like that, be sure to get in touch with me and we'll have you probably sitting here next to me so we can talk about that. But I think that's about all I have for you this week. I hope you're joining me next week, same time, 5:30-ish. I think that's when we're going to be on every week. And we'll talk about some other really cool things that we're going to be doing here at Kilt Cork. But I just want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. And I want you to have a safe week and a great week. And cheers to you out there. Thanks for joining me. Good night. That's it. Yeah, it's not. Done.
You did not have a graphic for them. It's not my fault. You did not have a graphic.
That was all over live video, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. Sorry. You picked it up right at us.
Oh, no.
No, you were. It was facing me.
Oh, okay.
It was facing me.
It's okay. Now I just know it's not my fault.
I didn't have a graphic for them?
No, you did not. You can look.
You know what? It was on the one that crashed when I did it before.
It's all right. It's okay because they were both on there, and so people will see that. And also, Debbie put #Trio Vino.
Yeah.
So